Alright, I'll just assume that everything is good. And yeah, hello everyone, welcome back to Umineko. We are on episode 3. Uh, we're back in this song and dance again, where Beatrice kills everybody and tries to get Battler to admit that witches are real and magic is real. And basically because she thinks it's fun. And also, yeah, that's basically it. This time it looks like we're focusing a bit more on Eva, because we had some stuff before it started. There may be another witch involved. In fact, there is another witch involved, but I'm not exactly sure how she's involved yet. Um, and the longer this goes on, the more magic bullshit will apparently be able to be happening. So yeah, fun, happy fun times for everybody in this murder mystery game. Oh wait, no, wait, I need to load. Sorry, wait. Let me go back. I forgot I'm supposed to actually load the game. Okay, sorry everybody. Hold on 1 second. Great start, Gabby. Great start. So basically, yeah, we're back to the usual song and dance. Um, Beatrice handed Maria a letter saying that she's going to take all of their grandfather's belongings with interest, and that includes them. And if they want to stop it, they have solved the riddle, which nobody has done yet. So because everybody's too busy fighting each other and whatnot to think about that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's see. Let's see what happens in version number 3, alternate timeline number 3. Ridiculous! What a worthless, vicious prank! So of course, this is all just because yeah, obviously nobody's aware of this stuff. So as usual, like usual, they don't believe any of this is happening because fair enough. A letter from a mysterious person who claims to be given full right to father's assets. Considering the whole point of this family conference is the discussion of that subject, I think it's too hasty to call this a mere prank. But we can't be sure. Maybe it really is one of father's shady pranks. He might have planned this to shock us a bit since we've been discussing the distribution of his inheritance without him. If Dad was the one who planned this, we can't take what Maria-chan just read out loud as a joke, right? That's right. If you interpret the contents literally, then this is a test from Father. The epitaph of the wish has been displayed in the hall for quite some time now, so that any one of us could solve it. There was plenty of notice. That means he was saying the first person to solve it would be how. Yep, anyway. See? My magic granted your wish. Oh. Nothing so. Okay, yeah, so this is basically saying. Interesting. I guess what they might be saying then in this timeline is that Eva might actually be trying to solve the epitaph because she does want to prove that, despite being a woman, she's worthy to inherit the Ushiromiya name and all that stuff, so. Then let's try and, ask Father directly. Oh, jeez. What dastardly locked room puzzles have Beatrice beguiling us with this time? You're right. Yep. We'll see. I'm ready. I'm ready for the ride. Nissan. Okay. He's still scared of father at his age. That idiot. If only he'd just give up and die. What in the world was that all about? I don't get it. They're all bastards. Do they really want the inheritance that much? Everyone, this is our parents' problem. It has nothing to do with us. So you mustn't worry about it. Even if you say that. They were so blatant about it. I can't believe them. Showing off their greed like that. Ugh. Everyone has to believe together that we'll be happy. Ugh. That's right. We all did promise. Come on, Batlakun. Jessica-chan, you too. I feel horrible. It's an adult matter. It has nothing to do with all of you young people. Let us forget about it. I would if I could. I know it's hard, but forget it for now. All of your parents are fighting frantically to make your futures just a little brighter. Please don't look at your injured parents with those cold eyes when they come back. No matter how much you ask us, Kyrie-san, that'll be tough. If everyone doesn't believe we can be happy, that happiness will get away. Everyone has to believe. Ew. I like the sound of that. I'll believe too. I'll believe we can find happiness. In this fucking torturous purgatory time loop. Hi, Kyrie, thank you. Beatrice is also always saying that magic won't have any power if you don't believe. Ew. Ew. Aunt Kyrie believed. Now Bather and Jessica have to believe. Those two are strong. They'll feel better soon, and then they'll believe. Yeah. More importantly, I want you to tell me something. Yeah? What? Who gave you that letter? Beatrice! The witch drawn in that portrait. Ugh. She gave me this letter and an umbrella. And she used magic to fix my rose that was broken. Beatrice is an awesome witch who can do anything. Neverland rules. Could you tell us about that in a bit more detail? Okay, because yeah, Kyrie's been the first to die in the first two timelines, so it'd be interesting if, like, in this timeline she stays a bit alive a bit longer, and since she is essentially the detective archetype, she actually does shit. Like, she's fucking. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I wonder if Kyoko Kirigiri from Danganronpa's design was a bit inspired by this, because, or if it's just like detective character, they've got to have that kind of breasted jacket and purple and white hair, like silver hair. It's like this is. She looks even more like Kyoko there. Tie as well. But I mean, well, no, because Umineko was late 2000, so it wasn't that much older than Danganronpa. I always like the time loop flowchart stuff for giving you a big bag of pieces and then you rearrange them in a bunch of different ways. Oh, definitely. Like, not only is it fun from your like a player's perspective because you feel like you're all like you feel really smart for seeing like all the different connections and everything. It's just fun from a writer's perspective because you can write whatever the fuck you want. Like if you have these characters and you're like, I love these characters so much that I can't just do one story with them. I need to do eight that are similar but slightly different, so that way I get to show off everybody's different sides. You know? Grandfather knew that someone was stealing his name, probably mad with rage. But even though grandfather now knew the contents of that letter, he coldly ignored it. So did that count as a silent yes? Who in the world gave that letter to Maria-chan? George Nissan, you can't ask her that anymore. Isn't it fine to say that Maria got it from Beatrice and leave it at that? After all, we don't want to make her cry any more than this. There are only 18 people on this island now. I thought that somewhere in the rain, a 19th person gave Maria-chan that letter and is now hiding somewhere in the school. Mikuro Ikasawa doesn't seem realistic at all. I- Anyway, yeah. Seriously, messing around with Maria's pure heart. Doesn't matter who handed the letter over. Maria says she got it for Beatrice, so let's treat it that way. Whether we're dealing with some non existent 19th person or Santa Claus, as long as we all acknowledge them, they'll at least exist. Inside Maria, Beatrice exists. I see. I guess it can be important to lie to a child to protect their dreams. Hmm? What's up, Jessica? Are you still angry? Sorry, well, actually, I was wondering if Maria might have actually met Beatrice. What do you mean by that? Are you saying there is a 19th person on this island? That's not what I mean. I'm talking about the story that someone we don't know has been living on this island since long ago. Living, you say? Where? In the forest. Well, this is new. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, but like, like I said, Beatrice said at the end of the first timeline essentially that If you solve the epitaph, essentially the game is over. You win, and I leave you all alone. So, and everyone comes back to life. So, if this is the timeline where they actually try to do it, we'll see. Maria had received this problematic letter today on this island. In other words, someone planning something to do with that letter was on this island today. We've made no progress. We've just been spinning our wheels. Yeah, like the last 3 timelines, right? That's right. And the mere fact that you've realized it means we won't have to waste any more time. It's not certain that Father sent the letter. My husband is merely exasperated by your inability to hold a conversation. Who's unable to hold a conversation? You keep yelling at me every time I say something. Do you surely think that's such shameful behavior as okay, anyway. Would you give it a rest, Eva? You too, naughty son. Topic's finished for now. Shall we all cool our heads off for now? Let's have some cool drinks brought over. That sounds good. Probably be wiser if we cooled our heads. Do you want to take a short break too, dear? Anarchy she'll look like she's in a bad mood. So I'll pass on that break. But I agree about the cool drinks. Rosa, have someone bring some water. A whole pitcher. Yes, understood. Sure is raining hard. I wonder if this 19th person is taking shelter in the Rose Garden Arbor we're at now. I wonder. They may be able to escape the rain there, but it will be quite cold. Mysterious 19th person is a visitor. Sounds pretty interesting. Just like a mystery novel. Normally, in that kind of story, it's safe bet that the person doesn't exist, that one of us 18 would be faking it. I suspect Genji and the others. Just as I thought, we should have fired all the servants of the one-winged angel, no matter what excuses we had to make. Come now, don't say that. We must be grateful for their long years of service. Of course, we can't let our guard down. I'm sure you agree too, Nissan, that whether or not Father was behind this, the person who handed Maria the letter. Okay, yeah, now we're going to the servants thing. She did exist. I'd love for her to appear. But no matter how much I wished, she didn't appear before me even once. Oh, really? She didn't save me from my crisis. Of course not. However, it looks like some of us still can't abandon the possibility completely, right? Kiro-san, please don't misunderstand. It's not as though we believe in that fairy tale like legend of the witch. Is this now the topic to insult Father? Simply speaking of such a thing as betrayal against him. Everyone suspects that Father had a mistress named Beatrice secretly living somewhere on this island. Is that it? I like how Nazi is much more loyal to Kinzo than his actual kids. I mean, yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, th- that was in timeline one. That's the whole thing where Kinzo had a brief moment of clarity, and he's like, you know what? You're like actually the most loyal member of the Ishinomiya family. Completely, you're the most loyal member. If we're going by, inheritance should be given to somebody who's most fitting of the Ushiromiya family, it should be you, actually, even though, you're not related by blood. But we'll see what happens, I guess, is the question. Also, the Natsuhi definitely, at the very least, we've seen Natsuhi's strong points. We haven't had a chance to see Krause's strong points, if he even has any. He is being a villain throughout most of it, and then he dies early, so we don't really get to see what he's like. Because, if everything goes to Natsuhi, he would be going to Kraus as well, by proxy, so. Sounds like one of those devil's proofs Rudolph's always talking about. It might be possible to. Hang on. It might be possible to prove there's a 19th person, but it's impossible to prove a 19th person doesn't exist. What does this look like in the original? Oh, she doesn't have a point. Interesting. She doesn't have a pointed finger pose in the original. Something added in the update, being like, then there's your proof. Phew. In the past, Father would sometimes disappear without telling anyone where he went. After all, he is a man who values silence. It wouldn't have been out of the ordinary for him to shut himself up in some library room after purposely not telling anyone where he was going. However, when the witch theory was slowly refined into the theory about his mistress, people eventually whispered he was secretly going back and forth to see her. Mum was totally paranoid in her last years. She'd sometimes suddenly start making a fuss, asking the servants to start looking for Dad immediately because of some urgent situation. Yeah, fair enough, honestly. Like, even if it's a little bit of paranoia, I feel like, people are constantly saying that, if your husband keeps disappearing, your husband keeps talking about this mysterious Beatrice per lady, and just sometimes just disappears without anyone telling anyone where he's going, and all of these rumors, like, fair enough. Interesting. We never knew where Father had gone. Even at that time, Grandfather was famous for his occult inclinations, with some of the servants exaggerating, saying he might have turned into butterflies and danced around the rose garden. So, in short, Father frequently disappeared and no one knew where he went. Yeah, since we couldn't find him no matter how much we looked. I mean, you know what? There probably is some kind of secret thing on the island, because clearly Kinzo was practicing black magic somewhere, and like maybe it was just in his study and only in his study, but like he was clearly doing some shit that nobody knew about and made human beings. He must have been going out for some reason that the members of the family couldn't know about. Might be going to meet his mistress, probably trying to avoid being seen. Well, anyway, this island's like a sketchbook in which Father, with his Western obsession, could draw out all of his dreams. Everything about this island is exactly how Father wanted it. It wouldn't be odd at all if there was a hidden mansion somewhere for his mistress to live in. How long has this room around Father's mistress been around? As soon as we moved to this island about 30 years ago. Aniki, you're planning on expanding this island into a resort, right? As you were doing that, you didn't manage to stumble on it by accident, did you? Maybe you even bumped into some gold there, too. Do you think Rockinjima is Treasure Island or something? Don't play dumb. We know that although you say you're opening a resort, you've really been planning to investigate the entire island, right? Judging by all that trouble and confusion we were talking about earlier, you haven't been very successful, have you? I don't know what you're talking about. It's a misunderstanding. Isn't it perfectly natural that investigating this island would be the first step in turning it into a resort? To worry about it, yeah. It might have been impossible for Father to build a hidden mansion to satisfy his dreams. However, let's be realistic. Which means she might be full of confidence taking her claim. Yep. Someone can solve the witch's riddle, they'll get the headship regardless of rank. In other words, it's the most advantageous condition Beatrice could possibly get, since she's got no chance otherwise. Well, thanks to that reckless action of hers, we all have an even chance now, right? Father has even given it his silent approval. Will the person who succeeds the Ushiromir family be Mistress Beatrice, or one of us, the relatives he doesn't even love? Maybe he wants to make us struggle over that to see who's worthy. It's like she's giving us a riddle she knows the answer to. Time for thinking music. She'll probably show up rudely and say, hey, here's the answer. I'll take the headship now. And snatch everything away from us. The person who brings up a riddle always knows the answer. Yeah, exactly. If they actually did solve it, then wouldn't the gold all be stolen from her? I mean, we do have the answer here. It's because magic and shit. You need to have a possibility of failure, or else magic does not work, apparently. Now, if you spin the chessboard around, there might be a pretty good chance that they actually do have the gold. Why are you so certain? After all, do they really think we'll let go of the Ushigurumia family headship? Just because someone tells us the answer to the riddle in the witch's epitaph? That we'll be so impressed by their answer that we'll just give up? Well, that's true. No way they're so naive. That's it exactly. No matter how Beatrice might one-sidedly propose a game like this, even if she were to spectacularly show us the answer, there's no way we'd immediately hand over the headship. In other words, unless she has a compelling force in the form of challenging us to a game with equal conditions for us all, this won't truly count as a game. Unless the losers have no choice but to give up on the headship because of a compelling force, this won't really count as a game. That was in bold, that's important. What might this compelling force be? In bold, would they bind us in chains and threaten us into handing over their headship? Exactly. It's not a game unless you can lose. That's also true, you're right. Then otherwise it wouldn't be a game. It would be like a I don't even know what you call it. Besides, torture. I see. I get it. They just have to do something to make us want to give up on the headship willingly. Yes, I see. To do that, Beatrice would have to own 10 tons of gold. In other words, it's a trade? Huh? What do you mean? A trade? Trade what? The Ushiromir family headship for the hidden gold. Beatrice surely plans to tell us the location of the 10 tons of gold and use that as a bribe to gain the Ushiromir family headship. Every one of us has got money trouble, and Beatrice has 10 tons of gold. As the only person who knows the location of the 10 tons of gold, Beatrice is planning on using it to force us to sell the headship. But how much is 10 tons of gold worth? At a rough estimate, let's say 2 billion yen? No, 20 billion yen. With that much piled up, we'd be ecstatic to accept her as the successor. Goal of Beatrice's letter was to disturb our alliance. Also magic and shit, but yeah. In other words, Beatrice's victory was already guaranteed in this game, not as the winner of Beatrice's game, but as the winner of Kinzo's game. Kinzo once ordered that the epitaph be put on display, and until today no one had solved it, so Beatrice solved it. In other words, it's less of a game and more like Beatrice's declaration of victory. If this was a declaration of victory, Beatrice would only have to display the gold openly and state her intent to buy the inheritance. That's true. Like, like in the same way that Kinzo showed like one piece of the gold to a business person to tell them that it was actually real. And yet she had gone to all this trouble, telling the siblings to try to solve the epitaph. Could it be arrogance? Or maybe she's playing? What are you talking about? The witch sent us a letter of challenge, forcing us to try and solve the epitaph. She might be taking us lightly, thinking we could never solve it. However, at the very least, there ought to be an extremely small chance that we do solve it. After all, we have here 4 of Father's children by blood, right? The questioner called together 4 blood relatives who, if they tried frantically to work together and avoid having their assets stolen from them, might come across the answer of the riddle by chance. In short, Beatrice gained nothing but risk by writing this witch's letter of challenge. Of course, it might have had the effect of splitting apart the siblings' alliance, but if that was her only goal, why would she take this risk, however slight it might be? That seems reckless to me. But if we keep in mind a certain type of emotion, that risk becomes comprehensible. And you're saying it's arrogance? Yes, that's right. When people have an overwhelming advantage, they tend to get arrogant. And when they do, they want to show up that advantage to the losers, so they sometimes take on small risks. A moderate amount of risks adds a little spice to the joy of victory. It'd be boring to win without any risk. I understand. I like that kind of thing too. Yeah, I understand it well. I thought of a few plausible explanations for the true motive behind Beatrice's letter, but I think this really might be the truth. The emotion hidden behind that letter was arrogance. If only I solved it, I would make the head, right? I'll solve it. I'll accept the witch's challenge. As if those other idiot siblings could solve it. I'll solve it by myself, and then I'll prove that I'm the one who's fit to succeed the Ushiromiya family. Baby Eva demon, might be a demon, might be schizophrenia, might be that other witch who's just been like disguising herself as Eva. Who knows? I'll take that challenge. I will solve the riddle. Ooh. So is it? But is she gonna actually do it? Does she even know where to start? Does anyone know where to start? And the clock strikes mid. Wait, no, that's clock strikes 9 o'clock. Dun dun dun. Oh, well, they got 3 hours before they die, right? So they've got to work fast. Or whoever gets chosen in the roulette. Oh, hi, Battler. I see. So she's not a witch, but a mistress named Beatrice who lived on the island. So there can be more than 18 people. Which means I can defeat the line of reasoning that says any crime impossible for all 18 people must involve magic. It's a big scoop. Pardon me. Battler-sama, would you like some black tea and cookies? Back to purgatory, you're right. I don't need any. I'm busy now. Leave me alone. Oh my. It's a shame. And the cookies were so delicious too. cooked so wonderfully that would be wasted on me, a human. I'll eat some when I feel like it. Just set it down somewhere and get out of here. Would that be acceptable? Then I shall do so. You may eat them when they get cold and stale, and then regret to the fullest that you did not eat them when they were fresh. You really are annoying. Well, you're a lot better than that Beto who keeps doing that creepy cackle right next to my ear. Yes, that is quite true. There are times when Milady's laughter becomes quite undignified. Every time I hear it, I find it painful to comprehend why such a noble demon as myself must serve such a master. Man, you're weird. If you don't like it, then couldn't you just not work for her? And yet to continue serving is furnisher's joy. If we do not serve, we would hardly be furnisher. How is the game proceeding? I'm just gonna say it again in front of Beto anyway. No reason to hide it. Basically, it looks like there's a hidden mansion somewhere on this island, and that grandfather had his mistress living there. So the question that's been torturing me about whether there are 18 or 19 people can be easily resolved. You've driven yourself into a corner because of the dead end that you yourself have created. Even though you deny the wish, Battler-sama, you hold a double standard and refuse to... Okay, anyway. It's all useless. In the past, my resolve wavered. That's how Beto hit me when my heart was weak. Like in the first game, when Kanonkin was killed in the boiler room. There were plenty of tricks I could have mentioned without hesitation, as long as a 19th person existed. In short, I can at least deny the line of reasoning saying that if something is impossible for every one of the 18, therefore the culprit is a witch. I believe it would be appropriate to ambush the piece representing the 19th person you mentioned. This sounds like Danganronpa music, like Matsufumi Takada music. Battler-sama, you've never met this 19th person yet. Would you please show me some proof this 19th person exists? Here we go. Devil's proof! Some moves... I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human, and some moves exist that can only be used in a game against a witch. There are cheap moves, and that's what this devil's proof is. Because it's impossible to prove. That's why I'll spin the chessboard around, right now. If I can't disprove the existence of witches, then that means, if I suggest the 19th human exists, you can't deny that either. But what about the red text? What about the red text, Battler? Even though I'm saying it myself, it's such a stupid argument and what makes me want to throw up. However, because it's such a dirty move, it's a perfect one to use against a witch. Well, this is just my imagination. What about if about 100 suspicious men wearing goat masks were hiding in the shadows? Something like that's worse than laughable, almost like they're cockroaches. I'll use any kind of reckless argument to explain it using humans and deny the witch. Anyway, with this move, I won't have to. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Do you know of a movie called Temple's Raven? No, that's new. What are you talking about? Oh no. Beatrice, god damn it. We were having a good time. Are you gonna bring up the red text again? I thought you might be doing something interesting while I was away. Temple's Raven, was it? Such a familiar old move I could almost laugh. Do you think the day would come when I get to show it off to Battler? It's a classic move to use against Devil's Proof. Renove, I will make this move. Do not get in the way of my fun. So you've finally shown up, you duffel-wearing witch. I say you're laughing like a freak just as usual. This guy was talking behind your back just now, telling me how undignified you look when you do that. Right? How rude. Is that true? Nonsense. Why would I see anyway. Temple's Raven is used to show actual proof using the contrapositive. Hi Gabby, how's Umineko? It's the usual. In other words, it is a move like this. What must you do to prove that ravens are black? Huh? What are you talking about? Prove that ravens are black? Wouldn't you just have to catch a raven and check to see if it's black? That's right! You must simply prove that a raven equals black. You see that if you instead prove that birds that aren't black equals not ravens, you would reach the same argument. If you go throughout the world and examine all birds that are not raven, and prove that none of them are black, then as a result you can claim, therefore, black birds are ravens. This is called an argument by the contrapositive. Thanks for the lessons, Beatrice. It's a thought experiment, Robin. Don't think about it too hard. Don't think about it literally. First of all, you are stating that the culprit is not among the 18 equals the culprit is a 19th person. So if you use the contrapositive, it ends up like this. In short, the culprit is not a 19th person equals the culprit is one of the 18. Oh, I see. Huh? What do you mean? Only that I've counted your move. Let's try and keep things simple. Ronov, explain. Yeah, red text incoming, right? Let's say you open the 18-person box, because the cookie is not there, you have paradoxically proved, therefore, the cookie is in the 19th-person box. That lets us make it even more, yeah. If it was first shown the 19th-person box was empty, it would prove at the same time the cookie is in the 18th-person box. What the hell? If I go first and prove that the inside of the 19th person box is empty, you will automatically have to accept the cookie is in the 18-person box. All I've done is say it the other way around, yes? So that move I was so confident in was actually a double-edged sword. That's right. I mean, that's fair enough. I feel like we almost had this conversation before, in a slightly different way. But that's what happens with a game with so much fucking text. Police wouldn't come here in this typhoon. We don't have access to scientific investigations or experts or anything. In short, we can't prove anything decisively. It'll be impossible for me to find any proof other than simply gulping down whatever alibis each of the 18 give. That means I personally have to prove their innocence, and I have to do it perfectly. Like, by staying with them the whole time, never letting them out of my sight for a second. But in practical terms, that'll be impossible. Unless I bound all 18 in chains and watch over them, it'll be impossible to prove that all of them have empty boxes. Vito only has to open one box, the 19-person box, and show that it's empty. Furthermore, there's no need to show which of the 18 boxes has the bomb. I've got 18 times more work to explain my pet theory than Beatrice has for hers. When a devil's proof exists in the world, it takes a vast amount of effort to argue against it, and there are many cases in which it is impossible to do so. However, Hempel's Raven turns that problem around and makes it impossible to prove things easily. A ridiculous argument. When they, not only demons but gods also use it, when they pose that the blessed equals the servant of a god, the contrapositive is a human is not a servant of the gods equals he must not be blessed. So in order to prove the servants of gods are blessed with divine protection, they only have to bring ill fortune upon those who don't receive protection. Not yet. Don't give up on this desperate struggle yet. Who cares about whoever's Raven? You're just trying to confuse me by bringing up weird bits of trivia. I use the devil's proof. Don't feel uncertain about something you've used once. Believe in the spear you've drawn, and then forcefully gouge it in. We're still in the opening part of the game. Do you plan to keep on thinking on this level? Ah, wait a sec. I want to be sure. I'll admit I talked about a 19th person to keep it simple. But if we're going to use the devil's proof to raise the number of people above 18, then we'd have no way of knowing if there were 10 people, 100 people, or an indeterminate number of people. There's always one more than you assume. Get it? I see. Even if I somehow prove an alibi for the 19th person, as soon as I do, you will think of the 20th person and claim that they are the culprit. By repeating this endlessly, you would make it so I kept searching for their alibis for all eternity. I see. Just like a demon king summoning a plague of locusts. I wouldn't expect anything less from Kinzo's grandchild. It looks like you have been gifted with a talent in summoning. In short, it's impossible to always prove an alibi to each person X outside the first 18. How do you like that, Vito? Now that I know we're having a battle with twisted logic, I won't lose. How foolish! Who do you think I am? I am the Endless Witch. The thought that you could challenge me endlessly is just absurd. Endless control means that I am able to kill endlessly. When your 19th person folds, you will summon the 20th, and when your 20th person, yes. Did you really think you had me at your mercy for all eternity? You laugh at infinite regress. The infinite doesn't work against me. Well then, how will you kill my endless? Just try and show me. I have the power to speak the truth in red. There we go. I was gonna say, yeah, when the only way to counter magic is real is with the stupidest arguments you can think of. It's true. It is like endless infinite wisdom of magic versus endless stupid ass shit that you came up with on the fly. It is kind of the best battle. But yeah, she has the power of red text. Here it comes. If I say once in red that there are no more than 100 people on the island, you will no longer be permitted to create a 101st person. See, Battler? What truth shall I tell in red this time? What? Why are you laughing? Oh, I want the kind of creepy. Oh, here we go. That red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. But I've already realized something. There's no need to be overly afraid of the red. You've brought out your trump card again. So, how and for what will Beatrice somehow use the red for this time? Oh, what do you mean by that? Suddenly looking so relaxed? Sorry, but I was waiting for you to take out that blood-red treasured sword of yours. Let's see, what will you proclaim in red this time? You aren't going to say the culprit was one of those 18 people, are you? Be careful, since that'd mean self-destruction for you, right? That'd be the same as throwing away your own witch theory yourself. That's true! A complete resignation. Of course, it'd be sad and difficult for me to accept if you told me in red one of the 18 was the culprit. But, before that, it would mean your defeat. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic. Okay, now it's time to hear your plan. First, to use your Hempel's Raven, first you'll have to confirm in red how many humans there are other than the 18. And after that, if you proclaim in red that none of the people in this group are the culprit, that's right, that might be a fatal wound to me. I'm surprised you don't have an atom of fear for the red, which once terrified you so much. You're quite resilient. Try taking it out. This island overcome with falsehood and illusions, the only thing I can trust is the information she speaks in red. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. That a good fortress has one, and only one intentionally weak point. The enemy would gather there. They would be lured there. And that would be where the actual battle took place. As long as I understood my weak points, and as long as she wanted to attack those weak points, It was as if I was luring her into launching an attack there. So, what's wrong? First of all, why don't you tell me how many people are on the island total? If you don't, your raven can't cut me up. How surprising that you can be this desperate and yet this difficult. One cannot make light of someone putting their life on the line, no matter what the era. It's no surprise you're Kinzo's grandchild. The more cornered you are, the bolder you become. It appears to be a stalemate. That black tea I worked so hard to make is getting cold, milady. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you happy now? Now it's starting to get interesting, huh? So it's like Beatrice Beatrice could just do the red text, but like now, basically almost like because Battler's so confident about it, she's like, shit, what if I say something in red and then he does use it against me because he's figured out something that I don't know? Because, you know, it's almost like because she is respecting him, because because she's seeing him as a worthy opponent, that's what's making her more cautious. Because yeah, she keeps thinking like, what if he's seen something that I haven't? Battler. This isn't getting us anywhere. Then should we get to the heart of the matter and go with the usual? Oh, the usual, you say? Then by all means. If I don't hear you say that, I guess I just won't feel like starting. Here I go, Beto. Repeat it! On this island, there are only 18 people. If I hear you say this in red, I'll have no choice but to suspect one of the 18. I won't be able to say a 19th person did it, so all doors will be closed to me. However, I believe the culprit definitely isn't one of the 18. There's no way any of those 18 could commit such brutal murders. I'll say it again. Repeat it! On this island, there are only 18 people. I refuse. I won't say why. The culprit isn't one of the 18. And since the culprit isn't a witch either, it means a 19th person exists on this island. And that's you, a person who, as grandfather's mistress of 30 years, has been secretly living in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long, long time. The human Beatrice. That's right. You aren't a witch or anything like it. You're just a human who's been living on this island and hiding for several decades. Did you just call me, the endless witch who's lived for over 1,000 years, a human? Are you ready? I'll keep going. Again, repeat it. There are 19 people or more on this island. She couldn't break the existence of a 19th person unless she used red. I've closed Beto in, giving her no choice but to speak in red. There really is a way to fight in this witch's game. It's okay to refuse. If you can't say in red, that means there's a total of 18 plus X people on this island. That X is a pretty massive piece to lose on your first move, right? After all, from now on, all of the tricks that were impossible for the 18 can be explained with a human X who isn't in that group. Yep. Witches don't exist. Something like that couldn't exist in this world. They can only exist in the valleys between truths. The red, which only richest witches can use, is the reality that might easily deny their very being. The more they brandish their red words, the more they begin to lose bit by bit that crack in truth inside which they can endure. That's why they don't want to use red words and carelessly lose that crack in truth, which is based on fuzzy information. Or illusions, in other words. That's because they understand that they're gradually being cornered. Of course, that bastard will never admit it, because if she did, it'd be the same as admitting that she's something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number. Don't be afraid. Stay strong. I know she's the one who's been really pierced to the bone. What's wrong? I'll say it again. Repeat it. There are 19 people or more on this island. Does she? Oh. I refuse. You refused. Which means that from now on, I can create as many fictional character X's outside of the 18 as I want? Do as you wish. I have refused to repeat what you have told me. Isn't that enough for now? The reason for my refusal is... No, I won't tell you yet. Anyway, you'll know soon enough. Oh, she's still got a plan. Oh, we won one fight! Yay, Battler. Congratulations for beating one fight against the witch. Spectacular, Battlesummer. Perhaps you have started this game with an advantageous development. Who knows? I still don't know whether I've taken a piece by my move, or whether she guided me into taking it. After all, knowing you, you probably know I'm being led into a trap and that clapping is just you mocking me openly, right? Very well. Why don't I inform you now as to why I refuse to speak in red? Oh, here we go. Bring it on. Show me what you've got. What? Rosa will explain. Okay, let's see what happens. What is it? Did you think of something? Oh, this mistress of grandfather, it's Beatrice. I was wondering if she's still alive. Huh? Isn't it obvious she's alive? After all, she was able to send that letter to us. She shouldn't be alive. Huh? What did you just say? Beatrice is dead. I I killed her. What? What did you say? What do you mean, Rosa? But it wasn't really me who killed her, though I did bring her to a place like that. What? No, I did kill her after all. I tried to make myself believe it was a dream. But it wasn't really a dream, was it? Which makes this a letter from Beatrice's ghost. Well, this is new. Calm yourself, Rosa-san. I have no idea what's going on. Already dead? What do you mean? I think it means two things. First, its literal meaning, and second, it backs up our earlier guess. Rosa has met with Beatrice, right? I've never heard Rosa mention anything like this. Rosa, when was it? When could you have possibly have met Beatrice? Long ago. Long ago. We just moved over to the island and I was still young. It wasn't my fault. It's not like I killed her. Oh no. Calm down. Nobody's blaming you for anything, right? What kind of cliffhanger is that? So like at one point, what, she was little and she saw the witch Beatrice, and then she thought she killed her, and now Beatrice is going to use that to say, well, it could be a dead person. All right, here we go. Flashback time, I guess. Well, no, flashback to the other previous story timeline where Beatrice was still a witch. And oh no, no, Beatrice, I've been calling you some time now. Did you not hear me? Meh. Were you? My apologies. I was lost in thought. Forgive me. The weather is pleasant. Yes, I can understand how the weather has stolen your heart. We have your black tea here. Who am I? I will bring some tea now. Wait here for a while. Forget about the tea. Talk with me. Very well. Who am I? Until today, no one has answered this question. For some reason, everyone averts their gaze and evades me. I have known you for a long time. I think of you as my best friend, even as a father. That is why I want so much for you to tell me. You should know who I am. Why are you worried about something like that? You are Beatrice, the master of this mansion. Is that not so? What the fuck is this? What more could you want to know? I do not know. Is that a new express? Hang on. Look at that. Look at that. Like kawaii eyes Beatrice. Amnesiac Beatrice, right? What's this? Don't you even understand what it is you want to know? I want to know who I am. Who am I? What am I? How long have I been here, and how long will I have to continue my days here? Oh, jeez. Did the summoning screw up and she came with amnesia or something? What's this all about? Looks like it's probably the story of your past, right? Something like that. To think I would go this far back. Looks like you had some pretty deep worries back then, wondering who you were. That is to be expected. At the time, I was unable to understand who I was, or why I was alive. Well, in puberty, everyone's captured by those philosophical worries at least once, wondering what meaning there is in their life. Doesn't this just prove you had a charming period like that at one point? I'd been in that mansion since the time of my birth, and I lived only inside the mansion. Of course, I went out to the garden, but the area around Yep. Hard to believe Beatrice was like that once. Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, we did see, like, other different white-haired Beatrice who was a nice witch, so... Unless there's, like, multiple Beatrices. You know what? At this point, I wouldn't put it past them that there's multiple Beatrices. Yeah, that it would just be that, like, Beatrice is a title or something. Who in the world are you? That's it. That is what I also hope to know. That isn't true yet, or should I say, that was once the case. I was constructed by Kinzo, a human built by a human. Oh shit. No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh. What the hell? This is getting weird. You probably won't believe it anyway, but listen first. I was a mighty witch who had lived for 1,000 years. But at one point I was summoned by Kinzo, and by that hidden art, I was bound as his prisoner for eternity. Never heard that before. From we hear, yeah, you were summoned, made something like a devil's contract with him, and gave him the gold. Indeed, that is correct. Then I was supposed to vanish until the contract was complete. But, well, popular women have it rough. By some turn of events, Kinzo fell in love with me. Power of humans is a frightening thing. He displayed that fearsome power and rooted me to this place. He said I wouldn't be freed until I nodded my head in agreement. Such an overbearing man. Isn't that awesome? Everyone knew Grandfather was obsessed with the occult, but who would have guessed he had the power to root down the great witch Beatrice? Ridiculous. Who'd believe such a weird story? Oh shit. There is actually a hidden mansion in the forest. Its name is Kuadorian, Nine Birds Retreat. Actually, come to think of it, I heard the guest house real name was Toray Wizard's Retreat. Naming sense is similar. So your grandfather's mistress who lived here in secret. Isn't that right? Mistress isn't the right way to say it. We should probably call it Kinzo's unrequited love. I'll decide whether I believe or not. After all, if I don't ask, the warp story won't continue. Tell me. Let's hear the story from your past. Very well. I refused Kinzo when he courted me, but he was not a man to lose heart at something like that. He wanted to make me nod my head in agreement, no matter what. He shut me up in this mansion and spent an eternity trying to win my heart. Talk about overbearing. Guess no one likes obstinate men, huh? Regardless of whether I responded to his courting or not, having a man so desperate for me was, well, as a woman, it wasn't so unpleasant. However, I never accepted his proposal. I tried to find some way to break through his guard. That barrier was firm and I couldn't crack it. And then, after trying to resist in various ways, I eventually reached the conclusion that to escape from Kinzo's barrier, I would have to throw away this body of flesh. Throw away your... what is that? I think she means she's going to have to kill herself. Even though I am a witch, in the beginning, I was born with a human's body of flesh. So for me, throwing away that physical body, while it didn't mean the same thing as death, it did require a similar level of resolve. Yeah, exactly, you had to kill yourself. It wasn't suicide, it was nothing more than throwing away my body. Of course, becoming nothing more than soul is a precarious situation. When the soul leaves its body of flesh, it is constantly exposed to the strong winds of the sun. It was not easy for me to maintain myself and avoid being scattered by them. It was a final measure I wanted to avoid if I could. There was no other way to break through Kinzo's barrier. So I think this is kind of like the main theme of Umineko, I think, this song. Anyway, I'm an unfettered person. Yep. Yeah. That Kinzo didn't let me escape even after I became a soul. Human emotions are terrifying. Tying down a dead soul is not something that can be accomplished easily, not even for a magician who specializes in such matters. Then Kinzo seized my soul and brought me back. However, a cage to hold a seized soul cannot be made from iron or lead. Only one thing remained. Only a cage made of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world. Kinzo shut my soul up in a cage of flesh, built to be exactly like me. So to sum up, it's like this. Grandfather obstinately courted you, you started to hate it, and you committed suicide, but you weren't clever enough to finish the job. Damn, you really took a roundabout way to say something like that. My soul was shut up in the seed of a homunculus, and I was born. It's almost like she's being a fucking toonie. She's like, no, I didn't try to kill. I didn't. It wasn't that it was a failed suicide attempt. I died, and then my soul was shut up in the seed of a homunculus, and I was born out of a test tube. Huh? That's crazy. That isn't even possible, right? It's already gotten pretty ridiculous. Say whatever you want. I won't believe anything. Just yeah. So the homunculus thing. The homunculus thing was sort of brought up before. In the secret tips section. That we got after beating episode 2, they basically said that Shannon and Canon and Genji are all basically homunculuses. Homunculi? Yeah. Also, that's why they have magical powers. I get the feeling that even though this is supposed to be a game about denying witches, I'm suddenly being forced just to swallow this story about witches. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Even though, honestly, the audience probably wants to hear more about it. Unfortunately, Battler is getting in the way of the plot. Oh, she just had the kawaii eyes for a second. Well, I've got absolutely no desire to believe you, but keep going. Let's have a bit of a story instead of a tea snack. Milady's soul was seized and breathed into a cage of new life. In other words, Milady received life as a human once more. But no, enough of that. This person just said it was too ridiculous to be worth listening to. Actually, what does he look like again? Yeah, well, kind of. I feel kind of bad, like I pissed her off or something. As long as you're aware of it yourself, I need say nothing more. Lady's soul was shut up in a homunculus, and she was revived in this world, receiving life again as a baby. However, because she was a baby, any professions of love on Kinzo's part would have been quite useless, and very fucked up. Can't say, grandfather shut that baby up in his hidden mansion until it grew to reach the same age she'd been? Correct. However, while her soul was the same, the human spirit is strongly influenced by its container. Milady lost all of her memories of the past and grew up as a very normal human girl. And you're saying that's the Beto sitting in the garden chair? Yes, that is correct. So talk about grooming, am I right, guys? It grew to be completely identical. However, it did not possess her power as a witch. Milady was completely human. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Oh shit! Oh shit, it's in red! A hidden mansion called Kurodorian does exist in the forest of Rokajima. Oh shit! Things are going somewhere. That is the place we were just talking about. Huh? Red? I may not look at it, but I am a demon. Please keep this a secret from milady, yes? Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, this is huge news. The fact there is a secret mansion hidden in the forest means that, first of all, yes, people could like hide and nobody would know about it. People could be staying there and nobody knows about it. There could be more than 19 people, no, more than 18 people, and nobody knows about it. And there could be secret stuff in the hidden mansion that they could use for a murder plot. In the past, Pear actually had a conversation like that in this place. But we don't. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, so they're basically saying something like this happened, but maybe not exactly the exact story that people have told you. Thanks a lot. I'll ask for some more, Red. You said she was born from a homunculus, but does that kind of unscientific magical thing actually exist? I'm unable to answer that question. After all, doing so would cause a stalemate. There can be no draws in the game between you and Milady, so I'm unable to answer that question, okay? If I were to say in red that a witch exists, then what would you do, Battlesummer? Huh. Whether or not I believe that, yeah. In this situation, even though you wouldn't be able to admit defeat, you would have no way to make a counter argument, it would become a deadlock. Yeah. Since you would not be able to play your next hand, it would never become Milady's turn, and the game would stop there for all eternity. That would be the deadlock. In order to avoid that, I'm unable to answer those questions. Okay. When did it happen? That's a good question. This is the world of 1967. Okay. The world of 19 years previous. Hello. In 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkanjima, Beatrice existed as a human. That's all. Here we go. In 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkanjima, Beatrice Sama existed as a human. Oh, thank you. That really helps. Congratulations. With this, you have made clear the existence of the piece known as the 19th person. The 19th human for you to blame, just as you longed for. Sacrificial sheep from across which you can ship the flame of any crime. How amusing it happens to be, milady. That's right. There's that thing Aunt Rosa said. Beatrice is dead. I killed her. What did that mean? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, let's see what she. Oh wait, or watching the flashback of that scene. This is an urgent call from Beatrice-sama. My, what kind of urgent business? It's okay, yep. Well then, if you excuse me, please continue to enjoy my game with Milady. Yeah, I'll enjoy it as best I can. My conversations go a lot more smoothly when they're with you as opposed to with her. As I thought, I have the feeling we'll manage to become good friends. Sure, if you mean partners of gossiping behind Beto's back. Renault-sama. Yes, if you excuse me. Why so grumpy, Nichan? If you're hungry, eat a cookie or something. Why don't I give you the last one? Oh God. Thanks for the yeah. Whoa. Nichan, isn't it about time you cut your nails? It's Lucifer. That is my glorious name. The honored furniture who serves Beatrice-sama, and the oldest sister of the seven stakes of purgatory. I'm not like my disgraceful younger sisters. If you don't show proper respect, you will regret it. And why would I regret it exactly? Can't really think of a reason. Stupid kid. Do you really want to play with me that much? Was I that unforgettable? Yeah. Someday I'll have your. Okay, yeah. Alright, and people are coming. It's time for lunch. So, let's continue this. Next time on Umineko. Woo!